on the east side of Tucson, and he was raping a lot of women on the east side of Tucson. And they would call it primetime rape because he usually would rape a woman around, 6 o'clock or 7 or 8, between 6 and 9 o'clock. And it was real notorious. It was, I think, even national news. And then it was big news the day they caught him, and they had him. The police had surrounded a house with him in it, and he killed himself. That's the story everybody hears. And look, I knew a guy that was one of the videographers, and when I saw the footage, they were interviewing this woman, and she goes, "Yeah, I heard one shot, and then I heard another shot." And nobody else, mentioned it. And it wasn't even mentioned on newscast. I said, what? She just said there was 2 shots. How did the guy killing himself do 2 shots? And he goes, "This is what happened. The police were surrounding the house. One policeman was climbing the fence, and he dropped his gun, and it went off. The primetime rapist thought they were shooting at him, and he shot himself." Nobody ever heard that. Nobody in Tucson ever, because they didn't want the police to look stupid, so they didn't say that. Yeah. So you get all kinds of things like that in very, very strange. Very biased stuff, very...
Yeah, but when it come out later during trial, like when he's fine...
Well, there's no trial because he was dead.
Oh.
So, yeah, if there had been trials, things like that would come out.
Probably forensic, I don't know.
I was very angry because during back in the early 80s, there was a big strike up at Morenci copper mine. I had relatives who worked there. Some of my relatives went on strike. Some of them stayed working. And I was staying in, and this is after I left LA, I was staying with my parents in Safford, until I came to the U of A to go back to school. And I was over in Safford, and the strike happened, and it was extremely racist. In the Mormon churches around Stafford, around where Morenci is, all the Mormon churches, like people in the Mormon church would say, the pastors would say, if those Mexicans don't want to work, I think we should send our good Mormon boys up there to work. They would say this on Sunday in the sermon, and so they would go up. A lot of these, I knew a couple of young 18, 19-year-old Mormon guys, and they went up and became scabs and got jobs up there. And so I mentioned that when I came to Tucson and was working at Channel 6, I said, why isn't the racism mentioned anywhere in the news, national or local? And so I asked this to the anchor at Channel 6, and he goes, well, that would just stir up more trouble. Yeah, but it's not true. It's not the truth. It's almost all the strikers were Hispanic. And the racism around that area was extreme, but nobody, the newscast never covered it, never mentioned it, and they didn't want to cause any trouble. So very